Driving down a dusty road on a former mine site 3 hours north of Perth, we arrive at what looks like a huge pile of dirt. But it's what's hidden inside this mountain of mineral sands that brings us here.
We're looking at a 1 million tonne stockpile containing rare earth minerals.
Iluka, a global critical minerals miner, has been building these stockpiles since the 1990s.
It could be worth up to $1 billion, and that's based on the value of the contained rare earth minerals and elements within it.
There are 17 rare earth elements, and all of them are contained within this pile of mineral sands, but some are more useful than others.
The elements of particular interest are the rare earth magnet metals, the neodymium, the praseodymium, the dysprosium and the terbium.
Which are critical for manufacturing things like electric vehicles, wind turbines and defence equipment. The thing is, rare earths aren't actually all that rare. They exist almost everywhere. The challenge is extracting what you need, which is a costly, complicated and environmentally challenging process. But one country has it down pat.
So rare earth supply is dominated by a single producer, and that producer is China.
China is responsible for around 90% of global processing capacity.
This goes back to the 1990s, where China realised that rare earths were actually a very strategic input into advanced manufacturing. So at that point in time, China began learning how to control the supply chain, how to develop the refining process, and actually capture the global market for supply.
China's monopoly has long bedeviled world leaders.
We've got to take control of our energy future.
The first time this became a real issue was in 2010. So Japan was the first country to be severely impacted by China's use of export controls on rare earths over a territorial dispute at that time. This severely impacted Japanese auto industry and all its other advanced manufacturing.
This prompted the Japanese government to finance West Australian miner Lynas Rare Earths in 2010.
The Australian government understands the strategic significance of rare earths.
Lynas, which has a processing facility in Malaysia, is now the world's biggest producer outside of China. But the country's stranglehold on the supply chain remains.
In more recent times, particularly this year, as Trump ratcheted up the tariffs on China, they were up over 100% at one point on all Chinese imports, the Chinese responded and played their biggest card. So their choke point over rare earths was used.
Governments around the world are looking for ways to diversify the supply chain. The Australian government is loaning Iluka $1.65 billion to build a rare earths refinery here at Eneabba.
It is strategic infrastructure that enables the development of mines that can produce concentrates where they're otherwise the only destination for that material would be the Chinese market, ultimately reinforcing the monopoly that still exists.
Who are your customers for this product?
So the customers, the most important ones are those that use the magnets in the manufacturing of electromotive machinery.
Is there a scenario where you're selling this product into China anyway?
It conceivably could, but that's not our intention. Our intention is to develop a Western supply chain that's independent of China.
Both industry and government say the refinery alone won't be enough.
China has traditionally been known to flood the market with a lot of supply for a period of time. This forces down prices and then undermines the operations and investments of the new non-China supply. Now, this is a tactic that even private firms use if they're a monopoly to protect their monopoly. So it's not just China that does this. In this market, to break China's chokehold, governments must intervene.
The price volatility is something that our projects have really struggled with.
Wyloo Metals, owned by Andrew and Nicola Forrest, is also trying its hand at rare earths. Their Yanjibana project in WA's Gascoyne region needs a further $350 million and improved market conditions to get going.
As you can see around you, we've got all the equipment, we have everything we need, but ultimately we do need to see the right price signals before we can make those investment decisions.
CEO Luca Giacovazzi says setting a floor price for specific rare earths, as the US government did recently, would help reduce risk.
Something that we've proposed is that if the government has provided support, that support is repaid at some point in the future. So we like the idea of a floor price when prices are really low to support the industry and to keep mines running. But when the price becomes very high, that there's a repayment back to the government for that support.
The Resources Minister says that idea could form part of the federal government's planned Critical Minerals Strategic Reserve.
Government involvement in offtake and setting a price floor can bring that really important stability to a market that is subject to quite stern manipulation from outside sources.
International trade expert Nisha McDonough says the federal government's billion-dollar bet on rare earths is both necessary and risky, but could pay off if other nations are prepared to pay a premium price for Australian products. Why should taxpayers be propping up this industry?
This is a national security issue in the first instance, right? If we do not have an independent supply chain for rare earths, Australia will not be able to access the defence equipment it needs in an incredibly volatile period.
Whilst there is no, immediate risk to defence applications, we have to look into the long term and realise Australia is in a position where we can and should take up our responsibility to lead on rare earths and critical minerals globally so that we are the alternative supplier.